everybody? Welcome back to another episode of More Than a Title. This is episode 143, and I'm your host as usual, Jarrett, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, baby?
Recovery once again. Recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, my cousin is a bad influence, and he is trying to get me off my workout regimen with them goddamn Hindindus.
I'm just gonna say it. We ain't gonna get no promotion.
Because I didn't go to the gym this morning, and I promised myself that I would try to stay as consistent as possible. I will be going to the gym after the podcast. So no Hindindu, only Polar Spring for me.
Hell yeah. Yo, what a lovely beverage. Everyone's got a beverage in hand ready to go. This is a perfect start.
Oh, there you go.
He could have had a liquid death. We said that he know he talking to you. Could have had a liquid death.
Nah, man,
well, hold on. Technically, this is still water. There's more water than what you're drinking.
Liquid death.
It is water. Yeah. Next time, make my share prices go up a little bit more next time.
You know what I'm saying? Come on. Game was in the game, baby.
Yeah, man. I mean, and nothing showed up at the doorstep either.
But the most important thing is you're worried about your health. That's the number one thing. As long as that's taken care of, we're good.
And we always promote health as well. So I appreciate you saying that. But we definitely gonna get into to talking about the whole liquid death thing, because that's almost like liquid death. You want me to drink that? So we're gonna get into that.
It's crazy. I'm gonna start with the grateful and thankful too. We'll start with the grateful and thankful.
So we definitely always start the show G&T, grateful and thankful, ladies and gentlemen. Grateful to wake up another day and be able to do what we do, like have these type of conversations with our guy Hamid and laugh and joke about life, right? And get some gems. And we're thankful for everybody that has supported this journey. Anybody that has watched, that has tuned in, commented, bought any type of merchandise, seen us in the street and told us, hey man, we appreciate what you guys are doing. That's the people that we're thankful for. Please keep continuing to support us as we continue to support the community and the culture.
That's it, man. That's what we do. We do it for y'all, man. Also, shout out to our distribution partners, the Live Podcast Network, the first woman-owned, black-owned podcast network, and the largest black podcast network in the world. Shout out to Angel and the entire team. If you want more content from content creators like More Than the Title, make sure y'all scan the QR code, download the app, and with your subscription, half of your purchase goes back to the content creator of your choice, y'all. So hopefully it's More Than the Title. And while we got that up, you might as well scan this too. You might as well scan that too. If you got your phone out, you might have been quick on the trigger, but you can go. There's a big ass QR code right there. You can just scan that. It'll take you to OTB Digital, right to the merchandise. You get you a mug, a beanie, get you a hoodie. It's fall time. Fall's right around the
Definitely corner. Hoodie season coming
Hoodie season, baby. You know we're going to be outside with our merch on. Come join us. Make sure y'all get it, support me, because that's how we keep the show thriving and going, y'all.
Yeah. And you know what, Jarrett, man, because hoodie season's coming up, man, and you are definitely our hoodie guy. You know what I'm saying? The spokesperson.
The beach, I mean.
We're gonna definitely design some new hoodies for you. You know what I mean? Some exclusive new hoodies for you for this season. Absolutely.
That's all I ask, man. Yeah. With that being said, man, let's get to it.
Let's start the show.
Let's get to it, man. First of all, man, shout out to all the listeners right now. And if you're a first-time listener, More Than the Title is a show just like this, where we actually talk to people in industry that are doing amazing things, where we celebrate their achievements, where we give game back to the community and show what is possible coming from where we come from, y'all. It's no fluff. It's straight real. We do what we do. We give y'all the content how y'all want it, man. This is what it's about. And today is no different. And let me introduce this brother the way he should be, man. This brother is a marketing powerhouse, and his journey through advertising had him working with giants like Nestle, PlayStation, and Taco Bell. He's also the mastermind behind the meteoric rise of Liquid Death, which is one of the fastest growing beverage brands in history. He is now the CMO of Lucky Beverage Company and already replicated his success. And let's introduce our brother, Mr. Hamid Saify. Saify, had it. Ooh, had it. My fault, brother.
And it's Hamid. It's Hamid.
I said Hamid.
It's Hamid, man.
I messed up the last name. My fault, bro.
He tried, Hamid. He gave.
I'll just say this, man. As someone who was nervous about the first day of school because of my name my entire life, I'm not surprised, and I won't hold it against you, man. It's all good, man. Appreciate the intro, though. Bro, appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Absolutely,
It's an honor, man. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. You're the reason why we have this show, bro. More than a title, man. And you kind of segued it perfectly, right? So let's talk about your upbringing, your growing up, man. Tell us about the early days, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. So my my backstory thing is like, it's a rare one, but it's also one that I don't always like lean into too much, because it's like, for me, it just feels normal, right? It just feels like regular shit. But when I tell other people that, they're like, they really glamorize it, and they're like, oh, you should tell people about this and this and this. And I'm like, so here's what it is. I'm originally from Afghanistan. My parents, I was born in Afghanistan. I was in Afghanistan until I was 2, and we fled Afghanistan as refugees to Pakistan because Russians had basically invaded Afghanistan. So we fled. We're in Pakistan for a couple of years as refugees, and then we got sponsored to come to America. And the only way we would get sponsored is, we didn't have any family in the States at all. So no family could sponsor us. We didn't know anyone. Our parents didn't have any money, none of that. But there was this Christian organization that at the time was like, doing sponsorships of like refugees in war-torn countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, Afghanistan, wherever you can think of. And so we got this sponsorship, and, we got the choice of moving to New York, San Francisco, LA, Hawaii, or Atlanta. And my dad was like, yo, where is it the cheapest to fucking live? And they were like, Atlanta.
There it goes. You shot the pops.
I mean, we got a lot of down south listeners. No shade to Atlanta, man. That was crazy, though.
At that time too, probably like the 80s.
Dude, it was November 1986, and Atlanta was like nothing. It was like a nothing city. It had a lot of soul and history around Atlanta for sure, but it was like, it wasn't a cosmopolitan or international city up until like the Olympics, really, or like early, like when Outkast put musically the city on the map. So growing up in Atlanta,
don't forget the Freaknik. Hold on, Hamid. Don't forget the Freaknik,
bro. As someone. Message exactly.
Freaknik. Outkast was cool, but the Freaknik,
bro,
man.
So here's how I look at it.
History
in 92, 93, it was like, all right, cool. We got Outkast, and then it was like 95, 96 when like Freaknik was at its peak. I was like in 10th grade at the time, and I was like, yo, what I would do to go to that fucking thing and just be in the so it was a little bit early before my time, but it was definitely people in my school that were making that trip. But Atlanta was like such a blessing to like be in, because any other one of those cities that we would have moved to, it was already like a community of people from Afghanistan there, right? There was a concentration of like, thousands of families that have already migrated and moved there. Atlanta didn't really have that. It was like a very small community. And so what that really forced us all to do is like assimilate in a different way. Like the street that I grew up on, like my best friends were Jamaican, Colombian, Peruvian, and from the Bahamas. It's like, that was my crew. And then I had like my Afghan friends as well. So
we're diverse like a
you talking about diversity.
Bro, it's like when I tell people I'm from Atlanta and like we start talking about stuff, and I'm like, they're like, sometimes we'll get around to like, oh, my best friends are Jamaican, and they'll be like, oh, what do you know about dance hall? And I'll reference like the first Buju Banton album. And they're like, what the fuck you know about Buju? But so much of my early like upbringing was just like raised on like thinking differently, and also seeing how like culture was moving and what was really driving culture in a community that was very segregated, right? It was like, if you were white, you hung around with white people. If you were Indian, you hung around with Indian people. And for me, it's like, I didn't really have that group. So I never tried to like fit in with anyone. I was just like going to be me. And it was just like, I'd fuck with this person and that person. So I was just like, getting good flavor from like all these different groups of people. And I think that's like kind of the recipe for like what makes really good marketers, honestly, is like someone who can really tap into just like, you don't know every single aspect of every little nano culture out there in the US. You're just not going to know that. But the things that are really going to like move people to like cause movements, change fashion, change art, change music. And I think that's like what Atlanta really gave to me, that I'll be forever grateful and appreciative.
I just want to chime in really quickly. I'm glad you said that, but I want to just hone in on that. I don't think that makes for a good marketer. I think that makes for a phenomenal human being. To become a worldly person,
Yeah.
When you travel and start seeing other cultures and understand the influence of what other cultures has significantly given to our culture and how we share with each other and how people live, you start to come back to where you're from and think about the things of how you're living and say, man, I might be taking a lot of things for granted, right? Maybe I'm not living as bad as I thought I was, right? Maybe I should not be so wasteful and things of that nature. So I'm so glad that you were able to have such a mixed race, mixed cultures around you for your influence, because I truly believe that to become a worldly person is what you should definitely strive to do. It just unlocks your brain to thinking and moving in a completely different fashion.
Bro, that's so true. It's like, even now, like, I'm like, I'm Muslim, right? So my practicing of Islam is like fairly thin. Like, I've never had a drink in my life, like, ever. And that probably started as a religious thing, but it's like, now I'm not really that religious. It's just like, I've gone so many years not drinking. I'm just like, yo, I'm good. Like, I don't really need to start it now.
Okay.
But then I also fast for Ramadan, right? So I fast, for Ramadan 30 days every single year. And it's crazy to me, like, even living in LA, or even when I lived in Atlanta, or like I meet people from like New York or wherever, it's like, some people don't even have an understanding of just like some of these things that I just like do, because they haven't interacted with like Muslims in a specific way, or like they know it. And it's like, like, Jarrett, you're in New York, right? You probably interacted with a million people just stepping outside. Like, you'll have like the whole world on your, exactly. So for me, my background is like, it's cool. I love it. And I'm so thankful of like what I went through. But like, I've never tried to fit in. It's like, this is me. And it's like, I'm like you guys, like, I'm a combination of a bunch of things. Like it's hard for me to identify and be like, oh, I'm this, or I'm representing this. So that's how I look at like humanity, or how I look at marketing, or just business. It's really just that.
That's a fact. We're more than that. And that's the whole premise of the show, bro. We're marketers, we're sales folks, we're fathers, we're brothers, we're sons, uncles, the whole nine, rappers, creatives, SEOs, devs, Marines. You shit me? Like, what are we talking about? That's what we do, bro. But at that time, early 90s, bro, the tech scene wasn't that big out in Atlanta. What kind of steered you towards the marketing realm? Like, how did you get into the industry, bro? Because it wasn't that prevalent there.
So this is kind of crazy. So when the first 2 or 3 years that we were in Atlanta, like, we were, food stamps, we would go to the church to get food. My parents would always stop. If you threw out trash, if you had a yard sale or you threw out trash, my parents were stopping, because they were like, yo, that's a good piece of furniture that I could use. So they would like always, and as a kid, that was kind of like embarrassing, because I was like, fuck, like, if someone sees me, or like, this is kind of like whatever. So I kind of was like in shame of like, for lack of a better word, like our poverty, I guess, like early on. But early days, my dad would always get like these little computers. He just like loved tech. And he would like have these like computers with the floppy disks back in the day, right? And, I'd love like Oregon Trail when I was in school, or like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, or like all these little, shout out to Oregon Trail, all these dumb games that would like teach you how to type faster. Like, I was just like fascinated by that stuff. And so because my dad always had tech in the house, we first got the internet around like 1996, when we got the free AOL 50 free hour bullshit that everyone got.
40 CDs.
And bro.
Yo, wait.
I had a million hours, bro. You shit me?
We used to go door to door for people that didn't use this.
Yeah, exactly.
You got a computer, Johnny, pass that shit.
We used to jack them for their free.
Bro, that was like some currency back in the day. Like, if you had one of those CDs,
yes, that's a fact. That's a fact.
I mean, so you grew up like us.
Well, Hamid, welcome to the Black culture. Officially.
Dude, I appreciate the cookout invite for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it was once I got like that, around that time I was like really, really deep into like New York hip hop, and I was like a big Wu-Tang fan. So for me, my first thing into the internet was like, I want to get Wu-Tang lyrics and I want to get NBA.com stats. Like, I was like big in basketball, and that was it. And then like around like 97, I was maybe like a sophomore or junior in high school. I started just seeing people make money off this thing called PayPal. And I was like, what the fuck is PayPal and what's going on? Like, what is this? And my boy, his dad ran a body shop. So he would buy cars from auctions, fix them up and sell them.
Yeah.
And because of that relationship, he would get like 25 to 30% off at all these like auto body shop things. And right around that time, you had this like influx of like Japanese cars that were being tuned up, right? Like any Honda, Acura, Toyota, whatever. And so I was into cars at the time. So I would just go on message boards, and I had a PayPal account and my homie's discount. And I would just like sell shift knobs and steering wheels and pedals and light bulbs and all this shit online while I was in high school. So that was like my first taste into like being an entrepreneur, but also like being a marketer and also just like making money on the side. And once I got a taste of that, I was like, honestly, just like hooked, because it just felt very, I don't know, it was like new, but it also felt very easy to me. Like it just felt like, you're just tapping into like humans. And by nature, I'm more of like a reserved, quiet, observing kind of a person where like, I'm just going to watch the room, and I don't always have to like, just like be the fucking biggest voice in the room. And I prefer smaller crowds over bigger crowds. But I just like, I've always just had a tune for like how to like navigate human behavior. Right. So it's like if my mom was mad, I knew it, or if I knew how to fix that, or if like my friend had a little thing, I could like navigate. It was like almost like a therapist as a kid. Like that was like the role for me. And so selling online was like very easy. I knew what things to write, what kind of posts to make. And so, yeah, then I went to school at Georgia State University, was a double major, like marketing and management. And then that just kind of like accelerated this thing of around digital was so new at the time. Like Google didn't even have AdWords when I like got out. There was this thing called Overture. And then, so once I got out and Google was starting to become a thing, like I started my career in search. Like I was a search marketer, like fresh out of college. And that just kind of took everything off, because you had to know how to target people, think about what kind of things they were going to search for, the right landing page you got to drive them to. So there's so many aspects of human behavior you got to like figure out with like, especially if you start a career in search. And so that was how it all kind of like played out.
That's fine. And if you think about it, it's the same as OOH too, bro. Same thing, right? The right copy, the right picture, what kind of action, what emotion do you want to get out of the user, what action you want them to take from your CTA, like all that shit is real, bro. Like I just fell in love with the shit. Like I'm kind of like more like you in a sense, where I didn't go to college for it, but when I started getting into sales, I'm like, man, I want to know what makes people tick, especially when it's social media, right? What picture I put up, this picture got 10 likes versus 5 likes. I want to know why. I want to know, was it the look? I want to know what I put on the captions. All of that shit means something, bro. And we became really good. And when it came to LinkedIn, it was just easy territory because nobody was on LinkedIn. It was like it was a graveyard out there back 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It was like nobody was there. It was just a wrap.
Bro, I remember setting up my first LinkedIn account being like, yo, this is the dumbest shit ever. Like, why would anyone want to talk to other professionals about shit? Like, I was like, this is so
professional shit.
Hate it.
You remember the early day, everybody just putting their shit up. I'm at a webinar. I've got a webinar. No, my product's the best. My product, who gives a shit?
Bro, the thing about LinkedIn, and honestly, just like anything business related, is like how much we just talk like fucking robots. It's like, bro, you're not talking to maybe you are, like maybe some people do, but it's like strategic mastery and all this. It's like, bro, you're not talking like that. Just like be human. And I think that's like the crux of it. It's like, you know?
That's so real.
Anytime someone tells me proprietary or algorithm, I'm like, yo, fuck, I don't want to talk to this person ever again. Get him out of here.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, my cousin yells at me even to this day for LinkedIn. I be trying, but it was very stuffy for me. Same thing, you know what I mean? I started a page and I was like, you know what I mean? Like I just was like, this is not for me. This is not, it has to feel natural. You gravitating, even with your father introducing you technically to computers and things of that nature, you could have easily moved away from that, right? You could have easily moved away from that. My mother played basketball, right? If there was a WNBA back and she got a scholarship, she went to college for basketball. If it was a WNBA back when my mother played basketball, she probably would have kept going and been that. And I hate basketball. Like, not now, but I never played basketball. Anybody that knows me, All-State 3 sports, not basketball. She hated my guts for that. Like,
we got washed in LA Fitness.
Right. Coach plays basketball, but I like, you know, it just didn't. It wasn't my.
But what was that? Did you just like not like it, or was it kind of like an anti, like, because mom did it, I don't want to do it? Like, what do you think about that?
If you really want the truth, I'll be honest with you, it's emotional damage. I was watching, I watched cartoons. I was, a kid. I watched my cartoons because my mother was such a basketball fanatic. She would come in and change it from cartoons to basketball. So of course I can't curse her out and stuff like that, but she get that look like she get that look, right? Because she was trying to get me interested. So once she kept doing that, every time I seen basketball, I throw I kick the ball away. Get this shit away from me. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. So Mom, it's your fault. You should have left the Smurfs on and left me the fuck alone.
Yeah, you would have been a 4-star athlete.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He got no handle, bro. He got no handle. He got a jump shot.
I don't play the sport. Like I listen, I won't lie to it, But I do want to ask you this though, because this is also very important, right? I know that you grew up multicultural, right? And you had a lot of multicultures around you that helped to influence the way that you were brought up, right? Did you feel like you belonged though? Because you said that your family fled Afghanistan at the age of 2. So technically you didn't understand that the culture of which you were born into, right? You moved to Atlanta as an infant, technically a child. So all you knew was that culture, but by you culturally looking different, speaking different in the moment, did you feel like they supported you initially, or did you feel like, you kind of had to, navigate that system? How did that, work out for you?
I mean, like, it's something, the concept of like identity is something that I still wrestle with today.
Okay.
And it's
right.
I've never in my life felt like, I found this like more over time where I found like, I found my people like here and there through different like scenes. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's limited because like from the Afghan side of things, with the Afghan community that was in Atlanta and otherwise, it's like, I never felt like I was Afghan enough. Right.
Okay.
Because
right.
Like, because like language wise, like I started to, lose Farsi, which is the language that we spoke. And I still can speak it, but I speak maybe like on a 3rd, 4th grade level. So I'm not having these like sophisticated conversations about anything. Right. And then also just like culturally, it wasn't mine. Like it wasn't me. It was my parents' culture. Like I didn't gravitate towards the music or like certain things because I just didn't feel like it. Just when you see a kid like bopping to a certain track and you're like, they were born with that. Like they just had that in them. Yeah. I just didn't have like certain things of that in me. And then so that was one side of things. And then also culturally, like in high school, for example, high school is very cliquey. And the friends that I had growing up were all 2 to 3 years older than me. So they weren't in like my grade or even my school time. So I went into school where it was like, all right, if you're a black dude, you're hanging out with this crew. If you're a basketball player, you're hanging out with this crew. Yep. So for me, it was like, I had acquaintances and I was cool with a lot of different people, but I never had like deep, solid, these like crazy friendships with a lot of people, like a very small number of people, like 3 or 4 people from high school that I still like keep in contact with, but not really. So yeah, this idea of like identity, it's even played out in the corporate world, like me being in corporate and like being in these spaces where like, I don't see people like me. One. Right. I remember being at this ad agency and I won't name names, but I was a VP there and I was the only non-Asian person of color with a VP title. And I was just like, damn. Or like even being a CMO now, it's like, there's not many CMOs who like look like me and like have gone through the things so I still am always like, I don't know what belonging means. And there's a long period of time in my life where I looked at someone as like, oh, we have these differences, right? So it's like, I wouldn't let you in because I felt like we were different. And as I've gotten older, I'm starting to like just embrace the similarities or like what the good things are between like me and this other person. Like, do they need to know like who was the top 5 scoring leaders in the NBA? No, they don't need to know that. But it's like, they should on some other, But I think that's an important question because like for a lot of people, they don't think about it. And it's not just identity wise, but it's also like activity wise. Like you know, I was at a company that did wanted to do like a snowboard and skiing retreat. And I was like, I don't know how to do either one of those fucking things. So like I felt excluded in a way that had nothing to do with my race or my background, but it was just like, I just didn't have those opportunities. So yeah, it is, I think at times like very instinctual to be like, I'm not like them or they're not like me. Right. But yeah, I think over time I'm trying to like bridge that gap a little bit more.
But even also though, in being in this industry, drinking. You not drinking, right? Wanting to go out, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we just closed this major deal. Let's go out to the bar. That's what we do as sales folks. That's what we do as marketers. If you not to, and it's like, yo, damn.
I mean, here's the thing. Like in college, I DJ'd, right? So I played like deep house, progressive house, tech house, and I had a college radio show for 2 years. So for 2 years, I was at a club every night, Thursday through Sunday. And Atlanta at the time, the clubs would close at 4, and then we do an after party until like 12 or 1 in the afternoon while I was in college. But when I was there, it was like, yo, everyone was on drugs or drinking, and I never had like a drink or anything like that. But it was tough because I was like, okay, cool. There was a little bit of pressure, but there was way more pressure in the corporate world to drink than club scene ever was. Like Nestle. On the corporate side, it was like, you know, it was like, oh, so-and-so is doing a happy hour, so-and-so is going away party. And for me, I just never loved being around people who were just like, and it's a different world now. A lot of people are like not drinking as much and they're keeping it together and they're like focusing on health and other things. But it's like, yeah, when you're in your early 20s out at a work happy hour and people are getting like fucked up, you're like, yo, this is like not a good look. I'd rather like be doing something else.
That's real, bro. And there's also another good question, though, bro, because you've been able to rise throughout your career. Like, what advice would you give to the young professional right now that feels like that in corporate America, right? Because it's one thing, like, knowing it, but dealing with it, right? Like I said earlier, we said off camera, like the game within the game, right? So what's the best advice you would give to somebody who doesn't drink, who doesn't know how to play the game, who, you know what I mean, who doesn't feel like they belong in the corporate structure, bro, and still progress?
Man, it's really tough because I think, like, everyone has their unique challenges that they have to like navigate, but like I think the one thing that I've just like done is I've never really played the game. And I think you guys remember when like Mace was clapping back at Jay Prince and he goes, that's why I got the problems that I got, because I never like listened to like that's basically me in a corporate setting. Like I just never played the game. I never was like political. I never was like chummy to like the bosses above me. I just was like, this might just be like an immigrant refugee mentality. I was like, I'm gonna be the best that I could do in my job. And the people who work with me love working with me, and the clients who like are working with us, that they love me. But like, if my results don't show you what I need to do or be at, then it's like, that's it. I feel like part of me is like, I don't want to, like, playing the game almost feels like inauthentic to me.
Nestle. Yeah. Well, let me tell you the reason I asked that, because you being a marketer, number one, you also being a CMO, right? And we talk about this all the time about being the only person in the room that looks like you, that has the background that you have, right? Yeah. And then you're marketing to who, right? Other people that might look like you, but a lot of the times don't look like you. Majority, yeah. Or if you're marketing to only people that look like you, why are you not marketing to other people? It's the ability now to say, why are we not marketing to these other demographics, right? Why are we not marketing to these other cultures when it's the product, right? Is it the bottom line, right? Which is more sales and things of that nature? Or are we trying to like demographically just exclude a lot of these cultures to say we only want our product to be in the hands of certain people? So by you having this diverse background, that would make you more beneficial and, you know, for the job, because you have the understanding now that I come from this, but I was raised around so many other different cultures. I can take from each and understand what each one looks like and what they absolutely, you
that's
know,
the secret sauce.
That's what it is.
Knowing the culture, bro. You said something earlier that I know many people picked up on. Y'all, I enjoy the invite to the cookout. If you don't know, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So if you be able to navigate through that and be able to bring certain ideas that you know that's hitting, you know that Mace just clapped back at Jay Prince. Now, how can we incorporate that into the brand and do something funny, right? Like, so that makes you, that gives you the
yeah. And I think there's this like, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but I think there's just like a lot of ignorance where like,
absolutely,
you just exclude audiences because you're not even aware of them, which I think is like a death nail. It's like, for you just to not be that tone deaf to like not be aware of how these certain things are happening is pretty like disastrous. I think it's like you having a marketing role, but we've seen people like who have roles who don't know that stuff. And then the other side of it is like, I'm always, even though I have, and you guys the same way, like we have our own makeup of like what made us humans, right? Yeah. But when I come into a brand and I'm trying to like build a brand like we're doing here at Lucky Energy, it's like I'm bringing my taste and my curation, but I don't prescribe that what I love, people are going to like always love. So it's like, I'm trying to influence people through like planting seeds versus being like, oh, we're just going to go do a campaign with Sexy Red tomorrow. And everyone who goes to 7-Eleven, you're going to love that campaign, you know? So it's like baby steps on like how to move culture, especially in certain categories, which has only been done one way. Right. So yeah, I think it's like little stepping stones, I think. Yeah.
Right. So I got, hold on for a second. You know, you also said that a lot of the time you don't need to be the loudest voice in the room and things of that nature, but you being a key component of multicultural representation, which you are, right? When you do see somebody that is ignorant, even and you're in this VP position, how vocal are you about letting them know, like, listen, this isn't the right way to go? Or do you kind of like, because it's nothing against you, but we've spoke about this exhaustively on the show about how many people get into position, and then once you get there, you're like, well, listen, I want to keep my job, so I'm not gonna kind of say anything, right? You know, I might like, drop a jewel here and there and say, hey, maybe we should do this or maybe we should do that, and then if it kind of gets shot down, I kind of leave it alone, because I believe like once you get into a position of power, with great power comes great responsibility. So I just want to know, like, how vocal are you about it when you see a lot of this ignorance and you know that you have the ability to, even if you don't implement the change, at least get them to understanding, like, we need to start thinking differently, right? Because if I'm gonna be honest, like, me and my cousin, if we're in rooms and not to say every time, all the time, but if we hear a lot of ignorance and, people just on a different type of timing where we're like, that doesn't even make sense, I only got one response. What the
is wrong with this guy? Am I getting there?
Also, so yeah, my statement on like not the biggest voice in the room is more like in my personal life, right? So if it's like, if I'm out with 3 of my friends and they bring 5 of their friends, now all of a sudden this room is full with like 15 people, right. I'm gonna sit back and chill and but corporate wise, I'm sometimes like keeping it real goes wrong. Like that's who I am. Where like I can't excuse ignorance, because it's like, it is an honor and a privilege and it comes with great responsibility for me to have a C on my title. I don't care if it's like a startup or if I'm running 1,000-person department. It's like, it's an achievement and I take it that way. So there've been examples.
You gotta be taking the class, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, there's been examples in my career where it's like, I was at a brand where like Juneteenth happened and they wanted to post something that just said Happy Juneteenth. And I was like, are you like, no, that's not the post. Or like, oh, we can't give this holiday. We couldn't get Indigenous Peoples Day off, but because we got Juneteenth off, we can't give Indigenous Peoples Day off. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this isn't like one or the other. It's like both are equally as worthy things to do. So my voice in these rooms are extremely loud, and I continue to push the button on like, this is not. And sometimes you're just gonna have blank stares. People are gonna look at you like they don't know, like you got 3 heads and like whatever. Yeah. But it is our responsibility and anyone's responsibility who's there to not just do self-preservation, but to do like pushing people forward. Like that is the responsibility, I think.
That's a fact. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
There it is. I mean, you have my curiosity, now you got my attention. That's what we like to hear, man. Because if we continue to do this self-inclusionary mindset, if we continue to think that, it's all about me, it's all about my family, whatever happens outside of my circle, my radius doesn't affect me, we are going to self-destruct very quickly. And we see that happening from day to day. You understand? We understand people got to work. Yes. We understand people have to feed their families and themselves. Yes, we understand that. But it's the fact that we're not binding together. It's the fact that even if I don't give you a job, at least I spoke up and I said something to maybe get the wheels rolling. So maybe you didn't get the job, but maybe your friend or somebody else got the job. That's what's going to move this culture forward. And I feel like we have to do that as people that have platforms to be able to do so.
It all depends on where you are in your career though, bro. And it all depends. You know, like I said, like, bro, I'll tell the story. I won't go into it, but I had to cut my hair in my first sales job. The same sales job I was rocking with Jordan Marsh from Owning Manhattan. That same job, I'm a top sales rep. I'm doing $250,000 a quarter, and I got to cut my fucking hair to make the investors or the board feel comfortable. Why do I have to do that? But if I say no, then I'm back on the block with the 3 for 10s. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's real talk. So what is it? That was too real.
You got 12 skinnies?
The 12 skinnies. I had them. I had the solid.
Bro, it's
real. I was trying to be corporate.
Wait, how he said? So we had a comment. Hold on.
No, what he said?
He said, Tropical Thrill, Bodacious Berry, OG Luck, who came up with these great names?
Yeah, so these are like lucky flavor names.
I was gotta be lucky.
Okay.
I had the Tropical Thrill. I had the
I didn't know where Hayes was going with. I had to read it first. It's like
we had the
Hayes, what are you
Luck.
talking about?
We had that. No, I'm joking with you.
Yeah, these
Hayes, we're gonna get to that.
I mean, they're good names for other purposes too, for sure. But yeah, I was fortunate enough. So I got into this role in February, and a lot of the names and like the design for like the graphics for like the flavors and stuff were already in place. So yeah, it's that's who came up with that. But yeah, going back to the identity thing, it's interesting because I've been speaking at conferences for like the last 15 years or so, right? And the way that I used to dress speaking at conferences, bro, I look back at that shit and I'm like, I can't believe I had a sweater vest, my fucking collar was popping out, and I was just like, God.
Yeah, the
bro, I was like, oh, then yeah, you were really pushing it. So this year for my birthday, so when I was growing up, there's two things that I really wanted that I could never get. I wanted an earring, and my parents were just like, hell no, like you're never getting an earring. So I never got an earring, so I don't have any piercings. And I wanted gold teeth. And I wanted a grill, and it never happened. And so I was talking to my fiance about it over and over. And for my birthday, she gave me molds to get like whatever grill that I wanted. She's like, pick out. And there's like, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, yo, this is like a dream come true right now. And then I was like, my goal now is to get my grill made and present at a conference with it. And it's just like, it's like full circle. I'm a man of a certain age where I don't give a fuck what you think anymore. It's just like, I'm bringing you good content and I'm bringing a lot to this table. Like, I'm going to just like be authentically me. Like, that's the life that I'm trying to live. And if I just continue to be able to do that, like, that's a success. And I'll be.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, shout out to your fiance, man. Wow. Shout out to your fiance for taking the time to listen and learn what's important to you, not what she thinks is important to you. So she knew that was something that was important to you. That's something that you wanted. And she took the time to cultivate that, to make that happen. So shout out to your fiance for that, man, because once again, right, that's a people skill, right? That's a people skill. Listening and learning what other people need, not what you think they need, and then trying to help provide that for them. And that helps to strengthen the bond and relationship. So shout out to her. Shout out to her. That's how she got the ring. That's how she got the ring, fam. I ain't going. One more thing, Jarrett. I don't know if you ever had it, but Hamid, just so you know, that I had 3 pair of grills. I had 3 pair. I had the regular pair. Which was the gold ones. Then I switched to the white gold ones. And before I graduated high school, I had the diamond studded gold ones. And my grandmother, her being one of the last big mamas from Georgia, my family's from Georgia also, she hated, I mean, every pair I had. I finally lost the last pair in Camp Pendleton in California in the Marines. I was rushing to do something, and I was rushing to school or something. I think they popped out my pocket, and she was like, and don't buy another pair. Once I told her, she was like, don't buy it. You're in the military, you're going to work. Do not buy it. I hate them teeth. But I'm just, it was important to me at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like I'm gonna put a grill on and I'm gonna take my shit off. I'm gonna look like Jerome. I feel like my shit, all this is gonna go, bro. I feel like all this is gonna be missing, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, you know, we have to embrace different parts of your life and what is important to you in these different aspects and times of your life, right? Yeah. Now, Hamid, you might not have the same, priorities as a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, 30-year-old. Your priorities change. So now your wants and needs are different than, back when you were young. But yeah, man, we have to enjoy each stage of our life, right? And try to, and try to, get what we need for us to progress in that moment, man. That's super important.
And I think there is a thing with like men as they get older that they like, try to tap into the things from their childhood that they couldn't get or didn't have or couldn't like really build up. It's like, it's the reason why like all these cars from like the late 90s and 2000s are selling for the prices there. Like a 2000 BMW M5 is going to sell for like crazy money because like that was the it car. You couldn't get it when you were a teenager. And it's like, now you got money and it's like, now you want to do it. So for me, it was like RZA when he had the fangs and I was like, yo, I want those. I couldn't get those.
I had fangs.
So I had to get the pointy ass rings instead. That was the safer way to do that. So it's just like ways around it.
Fucking Jordan. That's what I was with the Jordan. I had to get every Jordan.
Okay.
Mom couldn't do it. I had the Timbs. I went to Timbs. Mom's got me the Fubu boots. Shout out to J Alexander.
Oh, bro, I had the LA gear regulators. Like, so you had it much better than me.
You had the Warren G's,
bro. I had the Karl Malone. It was bad times, man. It was bad times.
It was real, man.
No disrespect to certain coaches, but we know who's buying that BMW M5. It's certain coaches that love BMWs, especially old school BMWs. There's certain coaches that love, yeah, man.
Bro, and I do want to talk about the early days. You talk about getting. You talk about the
I was a little late on it, but I had to do it. I'm sorry, Jarrett. I was a little late on it, but forgot we had that.
We got too many damn sounds, bro. But bro, what's actually like when you got to marketing, bro? You talking about like diverse thinking and your diverse background, how that helped you. Walk us through what is one of your most proudest campaigns that you've been a part of? Because you started with SEO. And then you work with brands like the PlayStation and Nestle. Like, how did those come about? And what is one of your like proudest moments? And then we'll go into like Liquid Death and stuff.
I guess like working in the agency world, there was never, just to be real, probably the proudest thing is like launching the PlayStation 4 and being part of that campaign was cool. Fine. But it was like, I was just like one piece of like a big ass machine, right? So it's like, I never really felt like I could really bring out the ideas or the thoughts or whatever that I had because it was like 50 other people in the room and whatever. And I was one piece of it. I don't know how you guys feel like this, like working agency stuff is like, sometimes you just like don't fuck with the brand. You know what I mean? And like, it is honestly just like revenue generation and just a paycheck and whatever it is. And sometimes you also work with brands where the values of the brand are very in conflict with like how you think about the world. And so my honestly, my greatest career achievement was just like the work that we did at Liquid Death. That's going to be the thing that I think like has changed my life. I'm forever grateful for the opportunity of being there, for what we built, for what we did, for how we changed people's like thoughts on like what good marketing and great marketing is. So that's been the highlight. The stuff that I did in the agency world of stuff, like, it was cool, but it's like, I'm never going to tell my kids about like, I did this campaign for blah, blah, blah. Like, and at the end of the day too, it's like, I'm also just aware enough to know that this is just what I do. It's not my entire personality. Some people's, their entire personality is what their job that they do, right? I love what I do, man. Like I'm in it. I work hard. I study it. I think I'm great at it, but it's like, it's one piece of me, this one piece of me.
That's fine. But then what made you? So then you're working at the agency, you're part of the machine. I'm not sure if you're probably at a holding company. If you're working on like PlayStation 4, you're working at some of the big ones, right? Boom. Then you transition to be a VP of marketing at Liquid Death. What the hell made you? Were you just on the fly? Did the CEO hit you up? How did that happen, bro? Because I couldn't even go on LinkedIn and be like a Liquid Death. I would never consider that shit.
Yeah. So,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so Mike Cesario, who's the founder, CEO of Liquid Death, him and I worked together in advertising. And so that's how, so he was a creative director and he's a, creative visionary. Like he is just like one of one in terms of just like how he thinks about the world. And so he was a creative director and I was the business lead, right? And so just like getting to know Mike, we just like thought of things in a very similar way. We questioned things and like working with like big CPG companies in the same way. And so we actually got laid off on the same day because we worked at the same agency. We got laid off on the same day because we lost the business. And I got laid off at 8:30. He got laid off at 9. And then we just both kind of did freelance stuff. And then he hit me up like months later. He's like, yo, man, met this guy. They have like an incubator called Science. They invested some money in the brand. Would you want to come run marketing and like handle marketing? And I was like, let's go. And, you know, at the time, it's like, I think most people, like anyone who's even still at Liquid Death, who was there from the beginning, like no one could have imagined it becomes what it becomes. Like you just didn't know. We were just trying to like win every day. Like that was just like the goal. And yeah, I was apprehensive, but I also like, I thought it'd be like a good challenge and it'd be like a good, you know, I also needed a check. So that was also another. And then, so yeah, once I started, man, and once it started just like going, I think it was like the first 3 months, I was like, oh, we got something here. Like, this is like going to be something that changes a lot. And yeah, man, it's like the brand is now 5 years later and it's stronger than it's ever been.
That sound familiar, Cuzzo?
Crazy.
No, but does that story kind of sound familiar to you?
A lot of stories. It could be, I don't know which one you're looking
No. The one where he just said, where he, you know, it was a startup and, you know, he went over there and he didn't have any, you know, huge expectations. But I'm talking about from us, Cuzzo.
I'm saying gone. I'm like, Udi, us.
Yeah, I'm talking about us, man. Like, you know, Hamid, I relate that to exactly what we're doing. My cousin was already doing the podcasting thing, and I wasn't big into podcasting. I didn't even listen really too much to podcasts. And when he came to me with the idea, like, listen, you know, I'm doing the podcast. I would like to turn it into a business. Let's partner up. I was already working. I was already senior level management at what I was doing. You understand? I'm like, you want me to podcast? Like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, we could do some music and stuff like that. But like, I'm like, what you said, within the first 2-3 months of us getting the company running, going to our first event, meeting who we were meeting, just the energy and the feel of the way that this thing was developing, I was like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And you said it. You said something that my cousin says every day, and we have this conversation every single day through text, phone calls, etc. We're just trying to win every single day. You hit it.
I mean, I couldn't hit the message button quick enough.
Right? Yeah. That's why, Cuzzo, I thought you was going to chime right in on that.
No, I was going to get to that one, but I didn't think you. I'm like, shit. Because
that's what you say. Because that's what you say almost every day. So that's why I thought you was going to chime right in on it, because every day we get up, Hamid, and we just try to win every day. We just try to make the company better every day. And from where we've started this podcast to where, forget it, for where we've started the company in general to where we are today, just the growth, the impact, it's taken. Yeah, I'm like you said, we would have never thought it would become what it is today, right? And it's still growing. That it was enough to make me say, I'm all in. Fuck,
but at the same
senior level management, I quit.
Yeah.
I'm all in. Like, let's do it.
But at the same time, what's so beautiful about it is like you guys had the higher level vision of where you wanted to take it, but it was like you knew every single day was just like a progress and steps of things like to got you to that vision. And you got to think about it, like for me growing up, like, bro, I'm programmed to play it safe because that's what my family did. It's like you get a 9-to-5 job because my parents were immigrants, right? Like they were like, don't risk anything, don't do your own thing, don't do whatever. And I've never really like been that at all. So it's like, but my DNA is like, you do the safe thing. So if it's like, oh, I can go get a job at Nestle or I can get a job at Liquid Death, I would have probably like years ago been like, I'm gonna take the Nestle job.
Nestle, absolutely. Yeah, Nestle.
But it's like, that's the thing. It's like, that was the life-changing kind of like moment in my head where I'm like, yeah, maybe like this playing it safe shit is just like not working for me because I'm not able to like be me. I feel like a cog versus like a driver of culture.
One thing I do want to ask though, bro, because we also had, because I thought Cuzzo was gonna go to that. We also had Udi from Gong, right? He's the CMO of Gong. He was actually our first episode on the show, bro. And I'm curious for you, coming in, not knowing what it would become, how do you negotiate the deal? Like, how do you go into there knowing that, right? You're going into Liquid Death. You're not going to give us numbers or anything specific, but how did you go into the negotiation aspect of saying, hey, I'm going to be the VP of this. If I hit these certain numbers, I'm going to get this, equity, stocks, whatever it is. How did you negotiate that, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I think early days, like, you know, it was like most executives were at the same level, right? Like CEO, co-founder, all of it. Like, we were all like, we got a limited amount of money. And in Beverage, you got to build up a big team. Like it's like an expensive industry to get into. So it's like we all kind of started at the same level, and it was like, all right, cool. My job is to like grow as much revenue so we can show to future investors that we got something here, that we can build up some social growth and capital, that we're getting people to try the product out. So it's like it's in culture. And that was really kind of the goal of the brand. It was like that was my job. And so, you know, we just did that, and the bar just kept getting higher and higher and higher and higher. And it's you know, Liquid Death was like, you know, it's a brand that really rewards people in success. You never felt at Liquid Death where you were just like, damn, I'm killing it, but I'm not being rewarded for it. Like the awareness of like, if you were like an A player, you were going to be seen and you were going to be like recognized for it. And so, yeah, I mean, going into it, it was just like, all right, it was like heads down, we'll do this job. And then as the brand went from raising a seed round of 1 million to a series A of a 10 million to a 15 million to a 40 million to you're like, damn. Like, it was just like, all right, cool. So then it was just like, you know, is the rest of the team also firing on high cylinders? And, you know, it's an important thing. Like, does the culture stay the same as it was early days? And are people still coming into it with the same like motivation that the early people did when it was nothing? Like now it's easy. If you want to work at Liquid Death, you're doing it because you think it's a resume builder. Yeah. It's going to put you indoors. But if you were back in 2019, it
was a risk.
There was none of it. Yeah. None of that.
Yeah.
But what I would do a quick segue on that, bro. I do want to know, you coming in as the new VP of marketing, right? This limited budget, we're a new brand. We got a cool brand, a great product, but nobody knows us. What was your game plan from day one? What was your vision from day one? Like, what was step one, bro? I got a cool product. We got distribution. How the hell am I going to market it to the masses?
So for us, like we had no distribution and we had no retail interest because it was called Liquid Death. No one wanted to fuck with it. And the way that
the distribution,
bro, the
no
ideas.
How the fuck did you get sales if there's no distribution?
So the ideas that like we were also coming out with, and like a lot of these ideas, like, so for example, the first video that we did, that Mike did, was him being waterboarded. And it's basically this 2-minute long video still on YouTube. And it's like, you know, for years, marketing fuckboys have convinced you that water is like safe and nice and friendly, but water is deadly. And we show like avalanches and surfers being wiped out and all this shit. But at the end of it, it shows like him being waterboarded. Like that's a provocative video, right? And then the jaw always gets me on.
It's not about the waterboard that just don't like the tone.
Just saying he kept getting waterboarded just doesn't sound right.
Well, I mean, you have a military background, so I'm sure.
I don't know. I know what it is, but just the audio of it for the listeners that don't know what
YouTube goes crazy for them.
Yeah. For the listeners, for the audio listeners, and for the people that are not military and watch movies but don't really understand what's going on, being waterboarded is a form of actual torture, right? It's torture, right? They have people hold you down and they'll put some type of rag or cloth over your face and then keep pouring water on your face to stop you from breathing and pretty much give you the effect of drowning. So that's what waterboarding is. It's a torture.
Brilliant though, but that's why you guys were able to go to market and take over the market share that you were able to do, because of the provocative nature of your ad. Like, you have a name that won't be distributed in the stores, and I'm actually going to lean into that. You know what I'm saying? So when you said the creative director, I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense. Liquid Death. Okay, you might not get distribution now. Now you're getting waterboard, and you're showing all this shit, participating in this shit. Like, what was the results of that one fucking video, bro?
Yeah, so that video we even did before we had a product, right? So that video we posted on Facebook, and like it got like 1 million likes, and we raised money off of the strength of that video. So it was like, yo, here's the idea, here's the premise, here's how many people like fuck with this on Facebook. And the thing that it had going for it is this thing that a lot of brands and marketers won't do, is that half of the people hated it.
Yeah.
So if you think about any marketer at any company, even 2% of people hating it, they're like, oh shit, we gotta change it, we gotta do something else. And it's like, Mike was such a visionary to know that if you are making everyone happy, something's wrong. Like, you gotta like push some buttons. And so the way that it rolled out was we raised money, and then distributors wouldn't really take it on, and retailers obviously wouldn't take it on because the way we were marketing and all that. Yeah. But we had the data over the first year and a half where we said, look, you khaki wearing buyer in the Southeast, you might not get this brand, but look how many pallets of water we're selling every single day through our website and Amazon. And look at the social growth that we have. Look at all these people who are loving the message and like bringing death to plastic, and like, or people who are sober in sober communities who are like, yo, I finally don't feel weird not drinking at parties. And then they were like, and then the first person who took us on, who was really brave, was a buyer at Whole Foods named George. He saw an Instagram ad and he was like, I need to see what's up with this brand. And he was the first retailer, national retailer, that took the brand in. And it was, March 2020, right when COVID happened. And the way that Whole Foods works is like, Whole Foods is like the biggest retail domino, right? So once Whole Foods drops, everyone else is like, oh, cool. Whole Foods is doing it. We have to figure out how to do it. And then it just like,
it's just any brand. Whole Foods of all brands, bro.
Yeah. So then it was like, it went from like, being like a digital business and an e-com business to like, then it became, this was the goal of it. Like, we know if you win in CPG, you got to be at retail. And then it became a retail business. And then like, it is what it is now. The brand is in like 130 or 50,000 doors across the country.
Again, that it's the same. It's the same story. We talk about this all the time. Nobody wants to support you until they see somebody else of merit or character support you, right? There's a lot of people that might have loved Liquid Death before Whole Foods, right? There was a lot of people that might have been drinking it and ordered it from you for their private functions and things of that nature. But nobody wanted to be the public figure to come out and say, I support them, because they were unsure, right? But then there's the sheep mentality, right? The follower mentality. Oh, once Whole Foods, if Whole Foods, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like that too, like
crazy,
at Lucky right now. So like, we've been fortunate enough. We raised $4 million, then we raised another $8 million. And, it's a tough fundraising environment for like any brand to raise money, especially in CPG. So we've got some really good, especially now, we've got some good investment partners and like some great momentum, right? Mm-hmm. But when you work in marketing and creative, everyone has an opinion, like it's like my daughter thinks this, or my cousin said that, or whatever. And that works a lot of way with like partnerships. So like Social Proof, what you brought up, was like, when we talk, like I'm talking to athletes right now, the first thing these talent agencies, who else you got, or who else you talking to, right? And that's it. It's like, once you get that first big name on the roster, and we're going to have a pretty big name on the roster soon, then it's like everything changes. Everything changes.
But then I've got to ask you, I want to get into brand partnerships and stuff like that too, bro. But then I've got to ask you the real question: what made you want to leave Liquid Death? That's a rocket ship to go to a startup. Do you just enjoy building new brands in the category, or like what was the mindset there?
Bro, as someone who's never had a drink or taken a drug in my life, like I'm addicted to this building thing. Like bro, there's something about the chaos of it, and just like the immediacy of like seeing something you did yesterday result into something the next day, or like building the foundation culturally for a brand is like so important to me. And I love it. So the decision of like leaving Liquid Death was definitely like tough. Like I love my time there, but I also felt like I wasn't fully utilizing my entire breadth of skills at Liquid Death. And it was just because the company got bigger, and we've got like people, and even as someone who started off in search, and I talk about this a lot on LinkedIn and otherwise, is I hate that people get judged by the last title that they had, because there's so many people who are way more. They're more than the title. They're more than their title. Right?
Man.
We're clipping that up, just so you know.
Appreciate you. You my guy. You're a layup. We're going to dunk it.
Exactly. Yeah, toss you the lob and you brought it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and that's the thing that I struggle with. And especially when I started my career off in search, it was like, all right, Hamid is good, but he's the search guy, or he's the whatever guy. And I was like, fuck that, man. Like, I'm not the search guy. I'm just like, I feel like I'm good at a lot of different things. And so, being at Liquid Death, I was like, all right, I need to put myself to the test to see if I can do this and build this in my vision and in my way, and touching up all the aspects of building a brand. So it was like a personal challenge. And it was also like, I get off on this shit. Like I want to do this stuff. And I had a vision. I was like, if I ever got an opportunity to be in a role like this, like in how I see the world and how I see brands and how I see marketing and how I see culture, this is my opportunity to stamp that as I see it. And that's the opportunity that Richard Laver, who's the CEO of Lucky, gave me. And, I'm forever grateful for that, because that's what I'm going to try to bring home.
Fire, bro.
Yeah. What is that though? See, I be on my shit, but it is what it is, right?
You sound like us, bro.
Here's the thing, Hamid, right? When we talk, and I had this conversation with a lot of more successful people than us, and me and David Shands enjoyed a great back and forth about being diverse and concentrating on one thing versus being talented in a lot of other things. As a culture, with the stigmatisms that go along with certain coaches are lazy, certain coaches are hard workers. As a culture, for us, bro, we are so talented in so many different things that sometimes it becomes very hard to lock in on one thing, because we don't want to be locked in one thing. My cousin says it all the time. He says, don't box in my creativity.
No.
That's his favorite. You're boxing in my creativity, right? But that's because we understand that's what it is, right? We understand that if my cousin is known as the sales guy and he's killed it as the sales guy, now if he wants to move over to the creative guy, they're like, well, that's not really your role. It's almost like he has to start from the bottom again and rebuild in that lane, when it's like, well, if I was already good at this and that I'm super talented, wouldn't you think that I can just move my talents over? But the way the world works is like, every time you want to reinvent yourself or show that you have more talents, it almost doesn't matter what level you got to with the other talent. It almost is like you have to start from the bottom. It kind of stifles you. Yeah, it stifles you.
But you know what's fucked up about that is, like, if you think about like the Renaissance and just artists, they all were multi-hyphenate, right? They all did various things. But now all of a sudden it's like, if you put on your dating profile that you're an actor, recording artist, model, producer, a girl might be like, ain't no way I'm fucking swiping on this, because that person doesn't have a real job.
Facts. He's figuring it out.
But like, that's the thing. And it's like, I think there's such value of people who bring a skill set across a wide range of things. And it takes a company to be like, to have the vision to be like, all right, I'm not just hiring to fit this little square, right? Exactly. I need someone who's a hybrid or can do a bunch of different things. And that's hard, because a lot of people think they're unicorns, but they're not.
Come on, man. Talk about it, especially in corporate.
100%.
And it's the reverse. There's so many people that are in those roles because they have a title, but don't really know the execution of what needs to be done. So just because you worked at Coca-Cola, you worked at LinkedIn, you worked at Google, does that mean that you know what the fuck I know? When I'm a dev, a SEO, we're visionaries, we're creative thinkers, and we have millions of views on LinkedIn and other platforms. And you want me to stay in the sales box?
Well, I remember having a conversation with a brand manager who went to Northwestern that worked at a big CPG company. If they see this, I'm like, sorry, you should step your game up.
Keep it real.
And for me, the kind of stuff I was explaining to them was just like so rudimentary. And I was like, how the fuck do you even have this job and title if you don't know this? But that's the thing, is like, a lot of people, I think, fail up. And I think a lot of people have the benefit of network moving them up in certain roles, who, in my opinion, sometimes are like not equipped and ready to have those roles. And I think there are better people who have, like, give me an entrepreneur who started their website and they know how to do customer service and operations and finance and marketing and fucking all that stuff. Like, that's a person I want to hire, not, you graduated from some MBA program and you went to Nestle for like a marketing track. Like, that is such a small piece in today's digital world. Absolutely. Where like, that stuff doesn't matter as much as like, a kid who's 13 years old can get way more views than a whole corporate brand can for a year with one video. So yeah.
And that's why I left corporate, bro. Like, so when I told you off camera about the LinkedIn thing, bro, that happened at an agency where the CEO just said, I'm getting leads through content. I said, I want to do content. He gave me the rein. He said, do what you want to do, bro, as long as it works. Yep. If it works, I'm with you. If it don't work, let's send some fucking emails out and let's do what we need to do the traditional style. Cool. Had a manager said the same thing. We took it, ran with it, 2.2 million, right? After that, though, I'm like, shit, now you're expecting it. This isn't part of the job application. This is some extra shit. I'm sitting there editing clips and getting guests. I'm using my network and my relationships to keep the lights on. And you better put some respect on my name. Okay, you can't? I'm out of here. Let me put a campaign out. Went viral, bro. Got a couple 100,000 views. Had every fucking job, Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, all of them hit me up, landed on Hootsuite, bro. And I'm like, I'm social media. It makes sense. I could tell you exactly what I was, give you my playbook, build the relationships, and dip out of it. I was almost as popular as the goddamn Al, bro. And
but where does it come back to? Hold on, Hamid. Where does it come back to? Let's backtrack this thing. Have you ever, Hamid? However, let me backtrack this. Remember back in the day when people used to apply for jobs. You apply for a sales job. It doesn't matter how many other jobs you had. You only have to list your sales experience, right? You know, remember resume building was like specifically targeted to what you were doing, right? So remember back in the day, you would go to a job and hear this term, you're overqualified for the job. What the fuck is wait a minute, let me get this straight. You want somebody that can come in and do this job well, check. You want somebody that can be an outsider, check. But now when I show you, not only can I do this job well, but I can do all these other things and I'm still going to do it for the same money. I'm not asking for a raise, but I'm going to do all these things for you for the same money. Now I'm overqualified for the job. It goes back to that mindset. It's like, what are we really looking for as a coach? Are we looking for the best possible person to perform the task that we need, or are we just looking for somebody to check off in a box, right? Demographically, education-wise, right?
Business culture is different from our culture. Business culture is very different, and corporate culture is very different from our culture.
But I'm just saying though, in general, you, Jarrett, just like you said, right? You got the interviews, and we talked about this all the time, right? When people were interviewing and you're telling them all the things that you do, and they say, and their response was either in that area or a little something different that meant the same. Like, what does that even mean? Like he just said to you, like, so let me get this straight. You know, I can do A, B, C, D. You know, I have my own brand, which will magnify anything I'm doing for you guys, etc. But you don't want me, you rather go with Joe Schmo who just graduated, like intern. How does that even make sense?
It don't make sense. But sometimes
I think from my perspective, it's like this. You know, I think there's an element of like self-preservation where people are threatened by good A players, right? And it's like that's the thing. It's like you don't want to hire someone who is at your level or maybe even better than you.
Here it goes.
Because you're just like, yo, I need to be the smartest one in the room. I need to be the most creative person in the room. I need to have like the most like, you know, fucking like persuasion in the room. And I think that's like a really flawed way of thinking of it. It's like, bro, I don't want to be the smartest one in the room. Like, I don't want to have to come up with every single idea. I don't want to have to think about every single thing. Like, I love it when someone like I had Lucky Energy goes like, oh, we should do this. And I'm like, damn, that's like game ready right now. Like, I don't even need to like put my little seasoning on it. Like, that one's ready. It's ready to go. So I think there's an element of that in corporate where it's like, yo, we're just animals, right? At the end of the day, we're all just animals, and we're trying to preserve our little resources, and that could be your job, livelihood, all that, which sucks because that's why I think a lot of companies just don't get better because people are like afraid to hire as good or better talent.
Absolutely, bro. And trust me, we see that's why we bet on ourselves, bro. We see it all the time. Like you said, I would go into interviews and be like, yeah, well, I've got a charting podcast, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've closed this. First of all, I didn't even send an email and close 2 million. Why don't, instead of you thinking of me of a threat, we should be thinking, how do I bring in this gentleman to replicate that? If we get 10 Jarretts on the team that do this, what does that do for our brand lift? What does that do for the ROI? What does that do for our community? All those other things, but they're not thinking that because they just want to check off something. And I refuse to feel like a cog in a wheel, bro. But like, like I was gonna ask you another question, bro. When you talk about brand sponsorships, we talk to a lot of content creators, bro. And one thing a lot of content creators have is sponsorships. So for you, from like a Lucky Beverage company or Liquid Death, right? When you collaborate with different content creators, what are some of the things that you're looking for? Is there a checklist you guys follow? Is it how they're moving culture? Is it following? Like what kind of criteria do you guys look for?
Yeah, I think it differs. So like the one big deal that I signed at Liquid Death was Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets. So Jalen I knew through like, you know, he was like top 2 to 3 high school prospect for like a couple of years. And then, so we were seeding him product, and when he went to G League Ignite, we were seeding him product. And Jalen, the kind of people that I look for is someone like Jalen, where it's like, if you are only partnering with people for their on-field or on-court activities, that's like a fail, because like, it's like, you might as well play the stock market, because if they're great. If they're not, then damn. So Jalen was like, all right, he was like a phenomenal athlete. He was a fit god. Like he always fucking dressed right. He was different than the conventional. He wasn't like a Zion who just wanted every Gatorade normal, like LeBron tracked of like Gatorade deal, Sprite deal, whatever. He painted his nails black. You know what I'm saying? He came to the draft day dressed like MJ with the fucking bedazzled glitter suit for draft day. And women loved him also, right? So it's like girls loved him. He was 25% Filipino. He dressed well, handsome, charismatic, and he happened to also know how to hoop. So the kind of like creator deals that I look for at Liquid Death or something like that. At Lucky, it's different. So Lucky, our founder survived a plane crash when he was 12 that killed 136 people, including his dad.
Wow.
Hell no, to the no.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
He also has a daughter who has special needs. She has cerebral palsy. And so the idea of like perseverance, triumph over tragedy, motivating, all that stuff, that's part of the DNA of the brand. So the kind of people that I'm looking for is like people who have a story like that. So if you're an athlete, like, oh, you were undrafted and now all of a sudden you just like made an all-star team or you won a certain award, that's the kind of people I want to work with, where you also have like, you know, some charisma to you and you have a personality around you, you have a good social media profile around you. So those are the kind of people that I try to like gravitate towards. And it's like people that are more long-term partnerships and not like one-off posts. Like we're not doing Fashion Nova shit where it's like, oh, here's a person coming in and it's like we're gonna do 6-month deals, 3-month deals, 1 year long annual deals, where it builds up in the same way that a relationship would build up, where it's like we're not trying to oversell to your audience immediately. We're trying to build up a relationship. We're trying to build up familiarity, and then from there, like it takes a different, face to it.
That's real. You know what? When I think about brands like that, because obviously you're taking a B2C approach, I've never seen a consumer brand take a B2B approach. Is that something that you think that would be like I can see like for instance like Lucky Energy Company, right? Shit, I just came from the club last night. It's Tuesday morning. I'm at work 9 to 5, and you got Wade Empire, you got us. We're on the desk right now. And we're sitting there drinking a Lucky beverage, and now we're sitting there closing the big deal, right? Like so, I've never seen the B2B approach and the B2C model. Is that something that's considered, bro? Is that something that's like?
Yeah. I mean, I think like so we've got some campaigns where we kind of shit on corporate culture a little bit. We got a couple of campaigns coming out where we kind of like
I'm down. I'm sold.
We definitely like it's like just comic. I was thinking about this the other day. Like I went for a walk and I was just like, I don't know, 20 minutes into my walk. And I was just like, so where I live in LA, across from me is like the Google office. So I see dudes on the corner of the Google office and they're like business casual, right? Shirt tucked in, jeans, fucking little backpack, and they were just waiting for their Ubers. And I'm like, how cringy is it to be an adult man who's just waiting for your Uber, dressed up all the same? Or like if you ever been to like lunch and you see a wave of dudes coming in from work, all dressed the same way and looking the same way. And I'm just like, damn, that's just like such a sad existence. You know what I mean? So there is so much of just like comedy built into the corporate life of like, everyone is just like everyone else. They just like fit a mold. They lose their personalities, or what the company does becomes their entire personality. Yeah. And that sucks. Like the world is all about individuals and the beauty and flavor that everyone has individually. And it's just like gets lost. And that's the reason why I love working at startups, because I think you're able to do that way more than like anywhere else. Yeah.
First of all, shout out to the flex, bro. I'm just looking outside my window at the Google office. I don't think I ain't missed that, bro. That's fire.
Yes, it was not intended to be a flex at all. It just happened to be the case.
No, it's a good flex, bro. No, we need the flex. You shitting me as you kidding me. You shitting me as you kidding me, bro. But that's fire, man. That's fire. I thought you were about to say something, cuz.
No. I see you was going. Go ahead. Rock out.
Oh, no, I got them hen dudes got me. I was about to use the bathroom real quick. I was actually going to use the question real quick. No. I'm ready to go. 1 second.
No,
Questions on Instagram.
Like, we talk about, creativity and brand building and stuff, Hamid, and just people in general, our culture nowadays, especially nowadays with job security not being what it used to be, with AI and robotics now taking over, so many people's jobs and things of that nature, you would think that someone of your status that has climbed the ladder now is like looking at the culture and the climate. You're like, listen, I know I like to do this thing, but let me stay, where I'm at and ensure it. So my question to you would be, did you ever think about saying like, okay, let me stay where I am at Liquid Death and starting my own thing? You understand what I'm saying? My own thing as a startup where I could still work here, but kind of like have my own thing building while I'm still, getting an income from Liquid Death and things of that nature. That way, technically, you're not like jumping out the window and, relying on, the new brand to be like your everything, right? You know what I mean? It's almost like giving yourself a safety net and saying, okay, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to still get my salary, still do what I do here, but then I'm going to incubate this and I'm going to start this on my own over here. And then when it takes off, then you can just lateral move and go from there. You ever thought about doing anything like that?
Yeah. So the early part of my career was exactly that model. So
right,
like
okay.
when I first moved out to LA, I was like 22 and I was like, I don't know, I've always been into like design and like furniture and stuff like that. So I started a modern furniture website, just drop shipping furniture. And, but I had a full-time job at an agency and I was like, all right, I'm going to dabble with this. I'm going to throw some search money at this and we'll see how it goes.
Right.
And the first night, like I launched this like furniture website, I woke up the next morning and had like $6,000 worth of orders. And I was like, oh shit, this might actually like become a thing. And then, but that's how I've always operated. The first, like, I would say 5 to 10 years of my career was just like, I had my 9 to 5 and then I always had a side gig.
Yeah, it is.
To keep me creatively, like just motivated.
Right.
But as I've gotten older and it's like the responsibility and the amount of work that it takes as I like moved up in my career, it's been more limiting. Now, sitting back now, we're going to make Lucky Energy another $1 billion brand. Like, I have no doubt about that.
Nah, it's not that you said, it's the way you say it, bro. I love it, bro. I felt that.
And with confidence, like, no, this is gonna be $1 billion brand. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
There's no doubt in my mind that it's gonna be another $1 billion brand. And it's like, all right, we got Liquid Death, $1 billion brand. Dude, anyone I think who leaves Liquid Death is going to have like a certain level of like, I want to follow up, right? I want to follow up, like have success, because it's like, in many ways, like I don't want to be seen in the shadows of like what I did at Liquid Death or the brand. I want to do a thing that like, I feel like I had more of like impact on, and not to say that I didn't do that. I just want to have more of a stamp on it in this way. So yeah, we'll be another $1 billion brand, but like part of me is always like, yeah, I want to do this thing for myself too. And there'll probably be a moment in time, like after Lucky, where that could be me becoming an investor and thinking about like investing in minority run businesses, weird businesses that won't be $1 billion brands, but it's okay if they're a $100 million brand or a $50 million brand. Like I want to start like empowering founders to do some of that stuff, or creating my own thing. So yeah, this idea of like independence is one that always is in my mind. And I'm sure it'll play out in the future. So
I could even see a CPG agency where you only work with these startup brands.
Could be.
See, that's where I was going with it. See that, because he said what he said earlier, we on the same page, because that's where I was going with it, right? Because he said earlier that he loves to just, get it out the dirt, and like that's his energy and that's his passion. That's where I was leading to it, because that's what I was saying. Like, if that's your passion and you have the financial resources to do it, why not just open up your own
incubator, bro? Right. Like, I'm here, I'll give you some equity, and I'll make you rock.
The incubator route makes the most sense, and I know you guys are agency owners, but I would never open an agency anymore. And let me just tell you why.
Please tell me why, bro, because I'm ready to get to the CPG game. I'm ready to go to. You show me a check, and I'll work for you.
Do me a favor. Next time you gonna say something crazy, give me the signal so I'm not smoking. You got me choking like 3-4 times. I don't want to have a fucking pulmonary on this fucking episode. Bro. Please,
I will just say. Agency founders are, I think, some of the most fearless people, and I give such props to you guys for doing what you do. But it's also like, how many times does your idea get watered down because someone doesn't agree with it or whatever it is?
Every day.
Or, and this happens.
Right. Every day. I mean,
Every day.
Yeah.
The other side of it is, like being at Liquid Death, you know, a lot of founders would hit me up, and I also contributed my time. Like every quarter, we had this like CPG like Slack group, and I was like, look, I'm Hamid, I'm at Liquid Death. If any founder wants to talk, or if I can help you, set up some time on my calendar, right? And I always gave back. Like every quarter, I would talk to like 10 to 15 different like founders or brands or whatever. But it was also like I would also learn from them. It was like both ways. And sometimes, you know, I'd work with founders, and some founders are like janky promoters, janky founders, you know? And it's like, you know, you have to chase the money in. And there's people right now who owe me checks, but for the sake of my mental health, I've just put it to the side and I continue doing what I do. So yeah, I think incubator is like an interesting element because like now I kind of have a playbook and I have the people that have the playbook. And it's like, yeah, we can accelerate a ton of brands, but damn, man, agency stuff is really hard.
No, Hamid. Though, wait. Hold on, Cuzzo.
Let's go. No, hold on.
Don't be too humble with this shit, Hamid. So if they owe you the money, you got to say that shit with your chest. Listen, ladies, I'm gonna say it for Hamid. If you owe Hamid some money, you heard it right now. I'm more than excited. Money by Monday, because if not,
If I raise up, gonna be trouble.
he got backup right now. He got backup right now. You know what I'm saying?
Pay the man.
Pay that man his money, man. Pay him his worth. Cut that shit out.
So I'm you know, I've been going to therapy for like 6 years now, right? So I think therapy is very valuable. I say this a lot of corporate issues I think just have to deal with like people not being in therapy. It's not about having a skills platform or being on LinkedIn learning or whatever that shit. Like I think just like some people need therapy, honestly. So I was thinking about this and like this idea of like, you know, some people are avoidant, right? And I think naturally in my life, like I love confrontation, but there's moments in my life where I realize to avoid it is better for me mentally because it's like I hold grudges like a motherfucker. Like I will
like this guy.
If you fuck with me or if you fuck with my money or people that I love, you're dead to me forever. Like there's no coming back, there's no forgiveness, there's no whatever. And yeah, I should be better about progress because what do they say? Forgiveness is for you. It's not about the other person. It's for you, right?
Yeah.
Keeps it real.
Keeps it real.
Now listen, I mean, if you don't mind me asking really quickly, Sab, what's your zodiac sign? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm a Pisces.
Okay, you're Pisces. Okay, because I operate that way. Cuzzo is like my therapist a lot of times, right? He has to like talk me off the ledge, and sometimes when I jump off the ledge, like literally jump off the ledge, he has to catch
him. I literally catch him
midair because I'm like that, right? Like listen, corporate America, but when you start playing around, because what you don't understand is when you play with people's money, you playing with people's livelihood, right? When you owe me money, and there's people that owe us money, be clear, Hamid. There's people that owe us money, right? And
we're gonna see y'all.
Right, and you think that it's a game, but if we're using this to feed our families and support our families, if you saying fuck me, you saying fuck my family. So you really saying you don't give a fuck about, you know, how if we live or die. Like I take it that seriously, right? So my thing is like I continue that energy back towards you, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That's me. Like you can't come back from certain actions. Once you show me that it's fuck me, it can never ever.
But for context, because we're so solid, just for context, I mean, we're so solid, bro. We everything we do is above board, bro.
I love it.
We don't do no fuck shit. We don't jerk nobody. We don't do nothing. So like we give game. We do this on our own dime to give game back to our coach for brothers that are out there right now. They'd be like, oh shit, you with Hamid? Y'all just seen Liquid Death. They trapping in front of the spot with the Liquid Death right now.
Wait, I'm telling you right now. Does that make it easier or does that make it worse?
No, I'm saying that's what we trying to reach. Now. We showed them. No, we showed them, bro. But if you messing with our money, no. Messing on you trying to play with us, we coming at you. That's it.
There's this concept. All right. So like in Islam, there's this concept that like your mother's prayers have the ultimate weight. If your mom prays for you, like things figure themselves out. And I will say this, like, you know, I have a good relationship with my parents. I'm definitely not a mama's boy by any means, but it's like, yo, you know, I'm the golden child and I'm a family of like 2, but like, you know, my life has always played out where it's like, I'm always okay. Like if something burns me, something comes up, you know, like it always works this way. So I'll give you this story. The person that owes me money, who I had to chase my money down for, and I realized this is like a useless waste. It's just a waste of my mental energy. I was like, God will make this okay somehow. And the next week, I got an investor who sent me a deck. And this person said that they worked with me. And this investor was like, should I take this meeting? And I was like, hell no, run from that fucking meeting.
He got the
Hell no. To the no.
He got the double.
Bro,
We got the
that's what
double
I'm
on
saying.
that one. Yeah.
And this in the CPG world is so tight knit through investors, partners, brokers, marketers, anyone that if you fuck with someone will find out, and then it'll just like it'll work itself out.
Yeah. My name is my name, Marlo, man. My name is my name, bro. That
You know,
shit's crazy.
again, because I just feel like this world sends a mixed message, Hamid. It sends a mixed message. The message it sends is work hard, work hard, work hard. You understand? Work hard, work hard. If you keep working hard, you keep doing the right thing, then the right opportunities will open up to you. But what the world actually shows you is the people that kind of work hard the most often more times get fired the fastest, right? Because you're the threat, right? Because, you know, people now fear you of the fact that you work hard and yet your work ethic is the way it is. It's just a lot of confusion in the message that we're teaching our children, right? And the message that we're sending to society, because you work hard, you do these things, and then you get treated a certain way, and then it makes you sit back and say, then I've wasted my time. Why is any of this thing worth the effort? So when you say like you would never start an agency, this is why if you do the research, there's been more entrepreneurs since COVID, especially right since COVID, when everything shut down. There's been more entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurial boom has never been what it's been now, because people are realizing I don't want to be a cog anymore. I do not fit in anymore, right? And I'm way too talented, even though I have a secure paycheck here. I am way too talented to be wasting my talents over here when I can just bet it all on myself and do it over here. Yes, the work is more. Yes, you're going to hear more no's, but the outcome, what's the outcome? The outcome is you can provide generational wealth for your family. You can provide opportunities for your family and your friends without asking permission. You understand? Yeah. Now, I was a senior level manager, Jarrett manager, you a manager, right? More oftentimes than not, if you're not human resources technically itself, you still have to send somebody through the inner workings to get them a job. See, guess what? When we go to events and stuff like that, we bring our kids. We don't ask permission to do that. Our kids is on the paperwork. We don't ask permission to do that. You understand what I'm saying? And every
cameras, they doing lighting kits.
You understand? And when we have friends that support us, you know what we say? You want to come in and we'll help you be partners within the company. That's what we see. That's the benefit of stepping out and doing it on your own, because then you can actually impact the culture on a different level.
I got to build to that though. So like, I think that's such a valuable point that you made about like there's a boom of entrepreneurship, which is great. I think your point about like hard work, I think is disproportionately taught to minority groups. So like, for example, if you watch Shark Tank, if you're a minority on Shark Tank and you're not about to get a deal, what do they say? We work hard, or I will work hard. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's like historically for minority groups has been the saving grace. Is like, oh, if I work hard enough, I can achieve the American dream. But we all know that there are certain things just societally inherently against certain people where working hard is not the thing that's going to break you through the thing. There's something else to it. So I think there is this like new educational way that we have to think about as minority business leaders and just people is like, yeah, work hard, but there's some working smart that needs to be done on how to navigate the culture. And that's a tricky thing, because it's like, you know, there's certain groups of people that don't have to justify how hard they work because people just think they work hard.
There it is.
Talk about it.
That's the stigma that I talked about earlier. Keep going. But that's what I talked about earlier.
Yeah, but exactly. It's like, yo, my mom cleaned houses and I went with her to clean houses. And it's like, there was a period of time where like, I felt like I had to like justify being in the room. And I'm like, I looked around one day and I was like, I'm better than all the motherfuckers in this room.
Chin up, chest out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I think that's what we should also just like, it's in every community that's minority. It's like hard work is great, do that, but also plan on a backup thing where like you got to do something else. Yeah.
That's it. Work smarter, man. Work smarter, not harder, man. Innovation, and we're so talented. We just underestimate our talent. Don't think we can do it, and sometimes we're just not resourceful to even make that shit through. There's a lot of stressful days as an entrepreneur, but are you going to stick through it? Do you believe it that enough? Are you willing to sacrifice a lifestyle? Are you willing to, when it's life be life and shit? Tuesday, I didn't want to do a pod on Tuesday. Shit, but guess what? We rocking and rolling.
Let's talk about the opportunities. To piggyback what you said, it's the feeling of that, but why do you feel that way? You played sports. Hamid talked about sports. Practice. So on game day, you're ready to go. The problem is we're not given the resources. We're not given the opportunities to practice entrepreneurship. They're not even teaching us entrepreneurship in school, right? They're teaching us all this other shit. Right? You're teaching us all this other shit, but you're not teaching entrepreneurship. You're not teaching financial literacy. You're not teaching credit. You're not teaching any of the fundamental things that would help a person even understand that this is a possibility. But what you are teaching is be a worker bee, the system. And that's what I'm talking about. So that's why it's so difficult, because once you become an adult, Hamid, you started early, right? Let me ask you, do you have any children?
No children, no.
Okay, good. So because that's relevant, right? A lot of us inner city kids, right? We end up having children very early. Very early, right? So when you start something, when we're in school and we're outside playing together, we have absolutely no responsibilities, right? We're just playtime, school. That's the time to teach us all of these things so that we can actually plan our lives better. But what happens is, because we don't have this education and these opportunities presented to us, life happens. And then we end up having so many responsibilities because we have families now at young ages and stuff. Now you have to be the worker bee. You understand? Now you can't afford to entertain entrepreneurship or anything else because you're like, I got to put food on the table. I got to keep these lights on, right? That's what I'm talking about, right?
So also I was saying the piggyback too. They also have never seen a Hamid, bro. Never seen. They don't know you exist.
Right. Sometimes. Yeah. So I think there's like a couple of aspects to that, bro. That's like such a good point. Is like, as much as I talk about like the shit that I went through. So for example, I had to go to an alternative school to finish high school, right? Yeah. And I had I had my mom and my dad in my household, right? And it's like, sometimes when I hear people struggle, I'm just like, all right, cool. That's not struggle. What I went through is struggle. Then I hear someone else's thing. I'm like, all right, everyone has their own, it's relative, right? Like everyone's kind of going through their own thing. But it's like, there's many times where like you feel, I'm like, oh shit, my position, as much as I think it's not like this person, I'm privileged because at least I had maybe this, or I had the opportunity for this. And I think it's like, I went into working with a little bit of like naive mentality on like, oh, if I just work hard enough and if I'm good at what I do, it's going to be fine. Like, I'm just going to like be able to do this and do that. And I realized 2-3 years in, it's not going to be that. Like, I have to find like some other way in. But the other point, Jared, that you brought up was, now that people like me and you two are in these roles, it's our responsibility to like bring up this crew. And if we don't do it, it's just not going to be passed down. And we're in a position to do that. So, and I think that's like what we have to give back. And the reason why, like, people will hit me up on LinkedIn and they're doing like small businesses or whatever. And I'll always try to find time to talk to someone because like, it's important. It's like really, really important to do that stuff.
Absolutely, bro. And I'll tell the listeners, this is our first time meeting Hamid. First time. And guess what? All it took was one DM. I was like, Hamid, I see I see your profile, bro. I see what you've accomplished. Would love to have you on the show because we need to hear the story. Instantly. I got you, bro. Just tell me a day. Got you. Just tell me a day. And it wasn't no fight. And then last week, we were supposed to have that conversation last week. We went through some stuff. We lost the car keys. We in DC. We trying to figure out waiting in the hotel. I'm emailing you 3-4 times like, yo, bro, we'll stay in a hotel if we have to do it. And you was just like, bro, let's do it next week, man. So I just want to let the people know that's what it takes from senior leadership, people in the C-suite roles to be like, yo, you know what? I'm going to come through. I'm going to take an hour and a half to kick some real shit because it's going to be different from my conversation with Ad Week. It's going to be different from my conversation with Ad Age. And it needs to be somebody that's listening right now that sees your story, that identifies your story is damn near our story, bro. It's almost identical, which is so crazy, bro. I feel like I know you for mad long. And I just want to say I appreciate that, bro. Keep doing that, bro. Keep being you, because that's what the fuck we need in this industry, man. Real shit.
Well, I I know you keep saying industry, but I just want to broaden it. I feel like
life.
we need as human beings, man.
Facts.
Let's get back to being human beings. Even though Hamid is C-suite, we're C-suite. That's fine. But guess what? You heard what you just said? We lost car keys. You know how many people lose car keys every single day? You understand what I'm saying? You know how many people get flat tires and your internet goes out and rainstorms? Life always happens, right? We have to let's get back to remembering that life happens, right? Life happens. Let's just communicate. And if you genuinely want to help somebody, if there's a situation that comes up, just okay, we need to reschedule. Let's do it, right? Now, I understand, like Hamid said, we have dealt with some unscrupulous people that don't know how to do business properly.
That's a good word. Unscrupulous. Right? In 143 episodes, never bust that word out. Unscrupulous. What the fuck?
Unscrupulous. You understand? that we have chosen not to do business with, Hamid. That we have chosen not to do business with because you're not doing business on the level, right? Like my cousin said, we're not jerking nobody and we're not doing dirty business, even at the benefit of us making a couple dollars. You're on mute, cuz, or if you was chiming in.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So even at the cost of us losing money, our morals and our compass of where we stand and how we choose to do business, we're not going to do that. So we try to put that energy out, but we have to help each other, Hamid, because let me tell you something. The funny thing a lot of people keep forgetting is the world is everything's a circle. So where you meet me at, I guarantee you, I won't be here. Even tomorrow, I'm in a different place. And the next day, I will not be here next year in the same place. So be careful on the people that you look at and say they're beneath me or they're not worth my time, because you might turn around and that person might have had the biggest opportunity in the world for you 5 years down the road. And then when they see you, they're like, oh, remember when you shitted on me 5 years ago? Now it's a dub for you.
Bro, I'll give this. Well, so I remember the agency that I was at right before Liquid Death. So we were working on this Nestle thing. We got laid off, and then I had this like little stint at this agency. And the first week I got in there, it's like people were like yelling at each other, and like the account management team was like crying and shit. And I was like, what kind of fucking toxic shit is it? I'm like a chill, reserved dude, and it's like even if it's like chaos around me, I'm always gonna be like operating at like ice, right? And I was like, yo, this is just like not good for my soul at all. And while I was out there, it was just like all the things that they hired me for, I just couldn't do. I couldn't just be me because I was like, it was like a 10% thing and whatever. So I was like, yo, I can't do this anymore. And so I resigned. And so I didn't have a job for like 9 months until Liquid Death happened. In that 9 months, like I tapped all my savings. I nearly maxed out on my credit cards. I got to a point where I was like, yo, before I ask my sister for help or my family for help, I will live in my car before I just felt like a sense of like, oh, this is like, oh, I can't, I'm ashamed to like whatever. But I was running out of money before Liquid Death happened. But those people that I work with that period of time, as soon as Liquid Death popped off, inbox. And I was just like, so my perspective on things is like, yo, if you are a good human and if you like understand what's going on, I will always be there to help you. But if you like didn't fuck with me or my ideas, or you were restrictive or had a block on stuff, like do not inbox me. This is also a message. Do not inbox me. I cannot help you because we've already established our roles in this relationship. So yeah.
Right. AKA in layman's terms.
Oh, well, hold up. And also, I thought you were going to...
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Well, that too. You know what I mean? That too.
All the way, bro. I think that's bro. I think that's a great segue. Like I said, bro, this was a great conversation. I don't know if you had another question, cuz, but I just wanted to give him his flowers, bro.
Yeah, I just want to ask him. I just want to ask him one more thing. So we talk about our roles, especially when we elevate to the C-suite and giving back, right? Do you do any type of internships or do you do any type of like fellowships and giving back to people that actually reach out to you? Let's say a person reached out to you on LinkedIn and said, hey man, I would love for you to be my mentor, things like that. Do you have any mentees right now or anything like that, of anybody that's like tapping into your creativity to help them out in their journey coming up?
Yeah, so I accept LinkedIn requests all the time, and it's like from people who are early on in their career, and if they ever want to chat, I'll always make time to like talk to somebody. Even if it's like people that I work with in advertising before who are like in a transition moment right now where like they can't find the next, and it's tough as shit to find a role. Like, you know, I'll throw a project to him, be like, yo, man, can I just like pay you for ideas for the next month or week or whatever it is? So it's like, if you are good and a good human or if you just want to like talk, I think, man, giving back is so important because like, man, we went to the church to get bread, you know, we went to the church to get bread and canned food. And like, I can't ever put myself in a situation where I just don't make time for someone who needs something.
I appreciate that answer because like Cuzzo told you, your story is almost our story. So I can relate to that directly. We called them soup kitchens. That's what we called them in New York. They called soup kitchens. You understand?
Yep.
And we would go to the church and there was certain times a day and we would get fed and we would get supplies and things of that nature. And I remember the food stamps when they back in the day, because you're almost as old as me. You're a little younger than me, but they those were the paper ones and you had to rip them out and they had the colors and stuff. So we've lived through that, the free cheese lines, and you understand what I'm saying? So when you come from humble beginnings like that, that's the whole message. When you come from humble beginnings like that and you actually understand what it is to struggle, what it is to not have anything, you know, always remember that it's a cycle. So while you're rising to the top, somebody's still at the bottom. Somebody is the next you trying to get out of that struggle. And if we don't reach back and help them out and help bring them up, then like I said, what happens next? You understand what I'm saying? So it's super important for us to give back, you know, how, and it doesn't have to be financially. And that's the message that I want to send, right? It doesn't have to mean money, right?
Encouragement. I see what you're doing, bro. Like, keep going.
Yeah, encouragement. You never know, Hamid. You can have a conversation with a person, just a simple conversation. Give them something, a gem or two that could change their life forever. Yeah, and you'll never understand the ROI that will come from you changing that person's life just off of a basic conversation, off the minute or two that you gave them of your time. So that I appreciate
and that's bro. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I encourage like anyone who's like listening to this is like, don't reach out to people when you just like need a thing. Like build those relationships early. Like chat, get to know someone, and then it's like then you have a real network. It's like, you know, if you hit me up just because you need a job, that's different. Like so, keep the building those networks because it is so, man, it's everything at some point. Like especially like in this CPG game, it's like now it's like, all right, that's Hamid at Liquid Death, and that's become a thing now. Or like anyone who works at Liquid Death is going to have a certain prestige. Or if you worked at Coke or Nike or Porsche or wherever the fuck you worked at, and it's like, yeah, man, we're all just humans, man, trying to connect at the end of the day.
That's it, man. Just be a person, man. Be a person, man. We keep it real, man. We keep it. There was no acts with this. It was just, bro, we want to know your story, bro, because it's something deeper than that. And if something happens, it happens. Like, but we told you off camera, the text we get. I said, what was the value of the text message that we get? Just to say, you know, like what do we naturally have in common? You're in a whole different stratosphere than us.
Right.
It's the fact that you thought about it. It's the fact that you took time out your day to be like, yo, bro, I see what you're doing. I'm gonna collaborate on your post on Instagram. Let them know that you're working. I'm gonna do those things, and that shit means everything, y'all. And people like Hamid, we said it last episode. People like Hamid or in the C-suite, they don't get the ask very often.
Yeah.
Sometimes people like, I mean, I'm dying for somebody. Somebody ask me something. Shit, me. I'll be like, yo, y'all don't see who we talking to? Nobody, yo, how'd you get that? What's going on? Ask us.
Yeah.
We'll put you in touch. We'll make sure if the ask is right. Let's make it happen. Be a person.
Bro,
man.
What you guys are doing, man. I just want to like, first of all, like, thank you for thinking of me and for having me on. I'm like,
absolutely. Thank you,
bro.
I think what you guys are doing is like food for the soul. You know what I'm saying? It's
man.
I've done plenty of podcasts and tons of like speaking shit. I will just say this has been the most fulfilling of those things that I have ever done. So, and I mean that wholeheartedly. It's like top to bottom. So I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Thank you, bro. You're part of the family now, bro. Like we said off camera, we'll say it on camera, bro. You're a part of the More Than Entitled family. We actually are elated that you're a part of the family. If there's anything that we can do, anybody we can talk to in the future, in the past, whatever, and you want a connection to, it's nothing but a text away, bro. We're gonna start the group chat. We are locked in. If you're in New York, I actually want to introduce you to Walt.
Yeah,
because you sound like Walt. Like your interview is like Walt. Like you, like another C-suite is like, I just don't give a fuck. I'm me. Like, and I love it. And Black Week is happening in October, bro. So I don't know if it's gonna be in New York City. It's gonna be a big thing.
Let's start the group chat. I think we can connect him with a lot.
It's a lot of different things we got going on. We want to get you in touch with, bro. So we're gonna be in touch, and we just appreciate you.
And do me a favor, Hamid, before you go, please let the people know where they can find you on any social media platform and what's the easiest and most convenient way to get in contact with you to get a response.
Yeah, just search for my name on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Hit me up there, DM me, connect with me, and yeah, we can go from there.
That's it.
And ladies and gentlemen, I say this before and I'm gonna say it again, right? Be respectful, right?
Facts.
Be respectful. The reason that we move the way we move is because we build these relationships, and 99% of the time we don't ask for anything, right? Most of the time we actually, and I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. A lot of the guests that have come on the show, yes, they've been a guest on the show, but we've provided opportunities to them even when they haven't provided opportunities to us, and they're at completely higher levels than us. But it doesn't matter, right? It's if we see an opportunity and we can connect those dots, that's just what we're gonna do as people, because we don't gatekeep, right? Just because you're at a higher level and you might not be able to do something for me now doesn't mean that I can't do anything for you, right? If we just give up the heart, then the energy will come back eventually. You know,
we're so confident in our abilities.
Yeah.
We know our time coming.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Matter of time. So we're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna keep going, and it doesn't matter what happens. The show will never stop, and we appreciate you guys. And actually, tomorrow we got Coco Sharp. She's actually coming up. Coco coming through. She's a PR professional that's working with Burrell. She's going to be coming through a lot of game. And then next week we got fan appreciation. No, we got fan appreciation on September 5th. And we got Isaiah Corbin, who's actually the founder of Exotic Creations, the biggest thing smoking right now in New York and the food scene. He's been on Breakfast Club, been on Hot 97, you name him. He's coming right to More Than a Title. And then we got Dennis McDonald, Reggie from Bad Boys coming through the week after. So it's going to be crazy.
Guess what?
Guess
what, Cuzzo? I found my uniform.
You got it. He's gonna put his military uniform. He's going viral, bro.
It might not fit the same way.
You're gonna have a tight ass motherfucking jarhead shit.
Look, I had that shit since I was like 17, 18. It might not be able to close up in the chest, but I'm wearing my shit for that interview. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, man. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys again through all social media platforms that are tuning in. We got a lot of comments on Instagram, LinkedIn. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the support, and just understand, like we always told y'all before, man, the dream is free, but the hustle, well, shit, that's sold separately.
On that note, we out of here.
What you know about me?